problem with Chinese music is today in international Chinese music is taking a back seat on the country. The kinds of melodies is only survive in restaurants or during in holidays, like China's New Year.
Music began in China 1,000 years ago as evidence in excavations in Henan, uncovering bone flutes dating back 8,000 years, and playing music instruments in Siam 6,000 years.
Zhou dynasty, 10th to 7th century BC, established a formal system of court and ceremonial music, later called Yuan, meaning elegant music, which embraced the concept of the music as a cosmological manifestation.
The Cantonese opera, the ritual mass opera, and Popo opera.
The session opera. The session opera is the oldest from opera in China, original session prose and the end of Ming Dynasty and the King.
5 or 6,000 years ago, in the Neolithic Age, the Chinese showered the government or self-entertainment in the traditional dance.
Okay, so first it is the long sleeve dance, then the lion dance, then the rival dance, then the Yanko dance, then the fan dance, and the last one, the beacon dance.
The solution will be that today in the place where they can share the cultural China's and remember them such as schools, universities, etc. They do it because as the years go be the cultural lost and the idea always in the present.
In conclusion, we can say that the custom of listening to traditional Chinese music is currently being lost because as every day different types of music, dances, etc. appear. Chinese culture and that of all the countries is disappearing, and for that to not happen, we should start teaching the new generations and remembering culture so that it isn't lost.
Hello authorities and colleges. Today my group is going to present the African music. Welcome to Africa, a city of Accra.
They have already met with my colleague, Benjamin Post. It's a blend of different elements from African, European, American, and mine. Eastern music tradition is the most popular. It arose as a result of Arif, of the first settlers at the beginning of the 20th century. Now I live with my colleague Joaquin Sosa.
Hello, I suppose that you already talked with my friend that is in this part of Africa, but we are in this part, in Nigeria. So today I will talk to you so the music that Nigerian people listens in here. The most popular is the Trhough. This music started to be here in the 1920s in the urban clubs from the country and was born from a traditional Yoruba's percussion. This music is very fun, it's very happy to listen, and is one of the most popular from Africa.
African instruments were destined to the identify African music. With drums, the reality is that in continent, there is a great variety of instruments, also now due to the importance of rhythm in African music. Much of the instrumental sounds come from percussion, among the wind instruments, the horns, flutes, and wheelsack, made with natural materials, reeds, horns, roots. Stands out of the curtains with wheel-sized hikora, and the musical bowl. All of them receive various names according to
This film, Are You Ready 46 seconds and costs 1 franc. Actually, a film is an audiovisual slate that you can go to see in the cinema. This is a cinematographic work that consists of creation, production, montage, and post-production. Some writers adapted the script and the recording essence depends of a manager and actor. This is a clear example of the evolution of humanity.
The first film was made and screened by the Lumiere brothers, Auguste and Louis. They filmed it in Paris on March 19 of 1895 and it was projected December 28 of 1895 in the Indian Hall of the Great Cafe in Paris.
One of the more interesting achievements in the history of the films. The first film, audiovisual of color, is created for Walt Disney called Flowers and Trees, and the manager for Gilderidge in 1932. The film had a big success that won an Oscar for the best animated short film.
An interesting part of the cinema is that they involve, okay? And we can see like movies in cinema, in whatever, in computers, in television, whatever, and that's amazing. Another interesting part that is that we can see movies in 3D and with another effects, and that makes me think that if now we can see that, what are we gonna see in the future movies, or like what effects we can see, or in the future what is gonna happen, what will happen, and if this is gonna be important of the story of the humanity.
What's happening?
What do you have to call me? Oh, there are actually people who want to see the movies. Oh, I'm so happy. Welcome to the world of the films.
When we talk about the birth of cinema, we take as a reference the date of December 28, 1895, when the first film was created by the Lumiere brothers, Auguste and Louis, in the memorable session held in the Indian Room of the Grand Cafe on Paris. I think, oh my God, it's my turn! I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about the runway gardening scene. It was filmed by the French Louis Le Prince. It was filmed in October 1880. It just comes with 1 minute 66 seconds of duration, and it was filmed in Yorkshire, England.
Hello, I'm Charlie Chaplin. Now I'll tell you about the year 1910. In 1910, Hollywood is the place that was chosen to record all the famous movies in the world, and in 1914, Charlie Chaplin did his own movies.
Hi, I am Cantinflas. I'm going to tell you a little bit what cinema was like in 1930s. In 1930s, Hollywood made the transition silent to talkies. It was a decade of pomp and excess, a time of glittering stardom and megalomaniacal directors. It's an era in which politicians and gangsters were trying to get in a boiling business.
Hello, I'm Wonder Woman, and in the decade of 2000s, the films are very expensive and have a lot of effects. Right, for example, in my movie, in the Wonder Woman, we have a lot of effects. In the decade of 19th, it's important to start to the computers and put effects in the movies. That are very expensive, right? So these are very significant in the world. So thank you. Bye.
In the winter of 1831, a small brig of the British Navy set sail from Plymouth for a voyage that would change the world. Thanks to that journey, the name of Charles Darwin would be on everyone's lips as the man who questioned divine revelation and placed nature and not God at the center of creation.
Charles Robert Darwin was a British naturalist who is accredited for the theory of natural selection. Darwin formulated his theory in private on 1837 to 1839 after returning from the HMS Beagle, and 2 decades after that time, he published it in the book On the Origin of the Species. His theory had a great impact because it became the foundation of the modern evolutionary studies.
Darwin was invited on a 2-year trip on the English sea-going vessel, the Beagle, and he considered it as an opportunity to explore many countries and the geological secret they could. In 1835, while he was traveling around the archipelago of Galapagos Islands, Darwin noticed that each island had its own unique form of mockingbirds.
After his return to London and presenting these findings to ornithologist John Howe, he had learned that he had collected about 14 species of birds that were related to finch, animals that later became as known Darwin finches. All fact, they all appeared to be similar, that were variations. Darwin, upon learning of this information, began his search for answers. It's thorough. These findings Darwin wrote and published the theory of natural selection.
Charles Darwin is an inspirational person because he transformed the way we understand the natural world, based on ideas and arguments that turned out to be totally revolutionary. And the most impressive is that he is celebrated as one of the greatest British scientists who ever lived. And he went ahead with his profession despite the fact that his radical theories could lead him to conflict with the Church of England.
Although Darwin's theory of evolution has been modified over time, it remains fundamental to the study of the natural world. Darwin allowed us to see organisms in a different way, but above all, he changed the vision we have of ourselves.
Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today you're going to enter to the Leonardo da Vinci Museum. My group is confirmed by Melanie Lopez, Micaela Saldumbide, Jose Velasco and Juan Diego Muñoz.
Hi, my name is Leonardo da Vinci, and it's my story. I was born in Italy on April 15, 1452. I didn't have children, but I did have many descendants from my half-siblings. Unfortunately, in my last days of life, I had a cardiovascular accident. But don't focus too much on this.
Continue, please follow me to the museum.
Vamos todos allá. Vamos. Dora, Dora, Dora,
Okay, now I'm going to tell you about the two of the most important paintings of Leonardo da Vinci. The one is the Mona Lisa. This is most recognizing painting of Leonardo da Vinci, and the other is the Last Dinner.
To go into more detail, I will explain the way in which Da Vinci was recognized. It should be noted that he became the best inventor.
Era él un inventor.
A painter. Where the points that make up most of his knowledge managed to transmit to his work. At the same time, he managed to innovate various areas that made up the illustration methods, which with that made from to be recognized.
Yes! Yeah! Woo!
These were the professions of Leonardo da Vinci: architect and urbanist, writer and poet, painter, botanic, anatomist and medic, scientist, engineer.
Thank you for visiting our museum. I hope you like it, and I hope that you have learned about the crazy life of Leonardo da Vinci.
My name is Magdalena Carmen Frida Kahlo Calderon. I was born on July 6, 1907, in Mexico, and my life was difficult, but even so, I kept going. When I was 18, I suffered an accident with a train. I had several fractures on my spine and my pelvis. And in the hospital, my father adopted a canvas so I could paint and became the famous artist I am.
Now we're going to see a painting, The Two Fridas. In this painting, Frida Kahlo unfolds, showing an image of the complex duality of her person. Both Fridas coexist at the same time and space, showing the symbolism that takes great importance in all of Kahlo's work. The Two Fridas is a double self-portrait, in which two women share the same seat and their duplicated faces are expressionless. Kahlo shows us one of the Fridas when she was still married to Diego Rivera and the single Frida. One of the symbolic elements that attracts attention in this work are the red arteries that connect both Fridas, serving as a blood transfusion, and the artery which comes out of the heart of the single Frida sheds blood from a scissor cut, an action that serves as a symbol of the marriage breakdown and the various abortions that she had. In this painting, Frida Kahlo searches for the balance necessary to cope with her divorce, the physical pain that she had, and her abortions.
Without Hope is a work created by Frida Kahlo which hides a meaning in it. We can find several things and understand how Frida felt when she painted that work. As we can see, Frida is lying in a rest bed because she is recovering from an accident that she previously had. At that time, Frida didn't have appetite, so they need to feed her with a funnel. She paints the funnel as a torture machine for herself. In the upper part of the funnel, we can find all types of meats and in a great quantity. Surrounded by the meats, we find a sugar skull that is very representative from Mexico. Let's remember Frida is Mexican. And as the last observation, we can find a phrase in her hand that says, "I no longer have the slightest hope, everything moves in the rhythm of what is in my belly."
Diego y yo. As we know, Frida's paintings have a great meaning which contains stories full of painful experiences that marked her life. Like Diego y yo, Frida's painting this one before she died. The most characteristic feature of it is that the face of Diego Rivera with three eyes appear painted on Frida's forehead. Frida, despite her continuous infidelities, idolized and admired her husband as her mentor. Diego was her teacher and mentor. In this painting, we can see the great anguish of Frida's by Diego Rivera when he had an affair with Maria Felix. He almost divorced Frida's. Maria Felix was a beautiful movie star and a close friend of Frida's. All Frida's was trying to joke about this mother, as she always did with Rivera's other mothers. displays Diego y yo.
Details are recurrent. Kandinsky's paintings show great explosion of color and silhouettes that constantly transform before the viewer. The main artistic influences of this painter were Monet, Fox, and Matisse.
Yellow, Red, Blue is a painting created by Vasily Kandinsky in 1925, during the abstract art period. This work is the most important of his time at the Bauhaus because the treatment of the color is specialized. This large canvas is perfectly dimensional rectangle that evokes divine proportion.
Vasily Vasilievich Kandinsky was an Russian painter, a forerunner of abstract art in painting and an art theorist. It is considered that with him lyrical abstraction and expression begins. He passed his childhood in Odessa, where he graduated from the Greco-Odessa School of Art. He was born on December 16 in 1866 in Moscow, Russia, and passed away on December 13 in 1944 in France. Composition 8. Composition 8 is a work of art that represents colors, lines, and shapes. This work of art has an abstract message, sense of the intentions of the author. And the technique used in this work of art is oil.
I am Vasily Kandinsky. I was born in Moscow, Russia in 1866, nationalized German and also French. In my life, I have many problems, many wives. I still remember their names were Anna Chimikenai and Nikita Kandinsky, and also my son, Bezvolov Kandinsky. I was pioneer in abstract art. I was inspired by the popular Russian manifestations and also inspired of the works of Rembrandt and Monet. One of my most recognized paintings is Composition 10. I paint this with oils of many colors and is characterized by having a dark background.
How the art evolves all over the years. Art evolves in pair with social, emotional, economic, and all the social media we know. Also, we can say that art evolves with nature because it shows us how the man or how the humans evolves in pair with the art. One of the most famous oil paintings of Vasily Kandinsky has the name of the Blue Rider. This paint was created in 193 by the Russian emigrant Vasily Kandinsky. This paint is preserved in Zurich in a museum and is part of all the world art.
Artwork. Composition 6 is a 1913 oil-on-canvas painting by Russian artist Vasily Kandinsky, now in the Hermitage Museum. The result of 24 studies, the painter took 8 months to complete the painting. He wanted to represent a flood, a baptism, and the theme of destruction and rebirth.
Point of view. Russian, German, and later French, the painter Vasily Kandinsky was the great theoretician and practical of abstract art. This art, in which the representation of the object is secondary and even harmful. The beauty of the art resides in the chromatic richness and the formal simplification.